The tugboat, for its size, is the most powerful craft afloat, and the Star Tugs are the power behind the docks and waterways that make up the big city port. This is Tugs. The days of steam were well and truly numbered. The diesels had already begun their takeover of the railways, albeit slowly for now, and everyone knew it was simply a matter of time before diesel tugs started appearing. I'm sorry to say that day came on the 12th of October 1929. Both myself and Captain Zero had been offered them. I refused, choosing to stick with steam, but you can be sure that Captain Zero accepted without hesitation. Alright everyone, I'd like you to meet Diesel and Revo, two new diesel tugs who I've agreed to give a trial to. Good morning, Diesel said in an oily voice. We're pleased to meet you, continued Revo. Finally, we have some decent tugs at last. Maybe at last we can get some proper work done. Welcome to the Z-Stacks, Zebedee said. Following that day, there was a distinct shift in how Big City Port was operated. Companies that liked the old ways and steam tugs tended to use the Stars, and companies that wanted to keep up with the times used the Z-Stacks. It even got to the stage where the Z-Stacks got another shot at the Rock contract, something we all thought was impossible following the incident with Warrior and Izzy Gomez. The idea of the Z-Stacks getting off the Rock company's bad books was a great worry. We had been losing more contracts than we had been getting, and the Rock company was a very profitable client we couldn't afford to lose. I needed my strongest tugs for this job, so I took Warrior off garbage duty to help Big Mac, and I also made sure Hercules was available for a rare appearance. Zoran, Diesel and Revo were there from the Z-Stacks. Captain Zero was determined not to waste this chance, so he needed his three most competent and devious tugs on this job. Well, if it isn't the new additions, how are you finding Big City Port, lads? Big Mac asked. It's nice, Diesel said. But we didn't expect it to be a museum. You stars are all past it. Now what about Zoran? Is he past it as well? Zoran's still useful. And so are all the stars, as we've proved to you on multiple occasions. Maybe I should drop out, let you two do all the work. After all, it's not really fair on them, 4 against 1. What do you mean? Warrior asked. There's only 3 of you. Well, you don't do much except get in the way, Warrior, so we count you on our side. Why don't you start finding some new installs, Zoran? I will when Warrior stops falling for that one. Well, he's proved that wrong many times before. Besides, we know something you don't. And what's that, then? Hello, Zoran, old boy. Do you mind moving away from the loading bay? I'd like to film a barge. Hercules had come up quietly while Zoran was distracted by Big Mac and Warrior. Hercules? You're working this job? Zoran asked, now visibly scared. Yes. Is that a problem? No problem, Hercules. We're just going. What's wrong, Zoran? Revo asked, once they were out of earshot. Hercules is by far their strongest tug, and the only one who can compete with you two. Why didn't you mention him? He hardly ever does harbour work. He normally goes out into the ocean. That's good. That means Captain Star is scared of us. Back at the loading point, Warrior was expressing his concerns. Will we really lose all our contracts to them? I don't know, old darling. Diesels are superior tugs, but the Z-Stacks and Captain Zero have a shady reputation that'll be hard to shake off, not to mention how hard all the Star Tugs work. Aye, but the reality, Hercules, is that if you're needed elsewhere, they've got us licked. Me and Warrior can't match their strength, however hard we try. We don't know that for sure. They might fail. Both the Stars and Zeros made many deliveries throughout the day. While the Diesels outperformed us, Hercules' strength meant the losses were minimal. The rock company still favoured us, but the Zeros were definitely back in contention. Here, OJ, do you know what this meeting is about? Not a clue, 10 cents. Instructions were just to meet at the Star Dock for emergency briefing. Captain Star doesn't usually call emergency briefings, commented Warrior. I expect that's because there's not usually an emergency. Over at the Zero Dock, Captain Zero had also called all his tugs together for an emergency briefing. I don't know about you, but I hope this is about the stars being driven out of port, Soren said. It won't be, replied Revo. We're making up ground, but they're still earning more contracts than us. It's going to take either a long time or something big to kick them out. Hercules was just arriving at the Star Dock when Captain Star began. Hello everyone, sorry for the short notice, but I have some bad news. This morning, said Captain Zero over at the Zero Dock, the stock market at Wall Street crashed. The economic situation is dire. The situation is likely to lead to one of the worst depressions the world has ever seen. Money is short, so that means we'll have to work harder for less money and fewer contracts. But the Z-Stacks have the edge on us. The cheaper nature of maintaining diesels means they'll be able to charge less. Who in their right mind would choose the Z-Stacks over us? Weren't you listening, Top Hat? Money is short. People will be forced to pay for what they can afford instead of what they want. This will mean harder work for all of you. The economic situation meant that many clients that were using the Star Tugs were forced to use the Z-Stacks. Even the steel company were giving them another chance, but this time Hercules was needed elsewhere, so Big Mac and Warrior were forced to manage alone, and the Z-Stacks still had all three of Zoran, Diesel and Revo. Alright there, Zoran. How does it feel taking steel again? It's good that the steel company is finally recognising the superiority of the Zero fleet. Oh, give it a rest, Zoran. Where's your old pal Hercules? Going to sneak up behind me again? He's making a delivery to Lowtown Port. Oh, so we've got the advantage then. You'll never catch up with us. Maybe, but you've not got an ocean-going tug. Hercules has got you beat there. You stars are a one-tug army. Without Hercules, you'd be finished. Why are you always arguing with us, Zoran? We should be on the same side. And why should we be on the same side, Warrior? We're Zeds and you're stars. Because we're all steam tugs, and we could be replaced by the diesels. Zoran was still refusing to listen to anything anyone said about him getting replaced, and he left quickly. But Zoran had tricked the stars. He had switched the ropes on the fourth barge, the one Big Mac was due to take, from the strong ones the steel company provided to old, weak ones that could snap at any moment. If his plan worked, it would be a blow to the Stars' reputation, and the steel company would be forced to pay a fine for neglect that would put a big dent in their finances, and practically force them into the Z-Stacks' hands. Come on, Warrior, Big Mac said. We've got to get moving. We can't afford to waste any time. Right behind you, Big Mac. Neither Big Mac nor Warrior had any idea that the ropes on Big Mac's barge were unsafe, and for a while they held. Look, Big Mac. There's Billy up ahead. Ah, no, not Shoepack. He'll blow us all sky high. Dynamite seems to be safe when he's using it. Have you forgotten when he sent a pile of logs racing down the river? Why to let someone like Billy Shoepack handle dynamite, I'll never know. It was at that moment that disaster struck. Big Mac was distracted by his conversation with Warrior, and he didn't notice that the ropes were beginning to give way. They'd already been travelling faster than usual to try and compete with Zoran, Diesel and Revo, and Big Mac's dislike of Billy and wish to get away from him quickly led to their speeds rising even more. Before Big Mac was aware of what was happening, the rope snapped, and his load of steel was sent towards Billy and his dynamite. Billy, look out! Big Mac yelled. Billy could see the danger, but there was no time for him to move out of the way. Everyone waited for the collision and the explosion. It's alright, I've got it, came a voice. Zebedee had been nearby and seen the danger, and raced in to intersect Big Mac's barge just in time. Thanks, Zebedee, I owe you one, Big Mac said. I don't like to think what effect this will have on our reputation. Zoran's plan was only a partial success. He had been caught switching the ropes, so it was the Z-Stacks who had to pay the fine rather than the steel company. But the Star's reputation was still damaged once it became public knowledge that Big Mac had been going at carelessly high speeds. The Zero's reputation stayed largely intact, as most people saw Zebedee's heroics as making up for Zoran's tricks. They took more and more contracts from us, and we were in a precarious financial situation. Revo said it would take something big to force the Star Tugs out of big city ports, and I think the Great Depression fits that description.